Have you ever wondered why you have different moods and emotions? One time you're feeling happy, the other time you're sad. The next moment you're so angry and you don't know what's going on. Hi, my name is Adiola Ngwaira and I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm here to discuss with you what happens, the general mood cycle that we have. So your brain is responsible for releasing hormones or chemicals such as dopamine, endorphins, cortisol, or serotonin. These then affect your mood. Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling depressed? Right. These are now your emotions. Your emotions are those feelings that you have. After that, your emotions then tend to have an impact on your actions. If you feel sad, you don't feel like doing anything. You don't feel like going out. You don't feel like you have any hope in you. And at times, it even affects your moods, or your mood, your sleep, and affects how you feel about yourself. Are you feeling hopeless? Are you feeling worthless? So today we're just going to use this to help us to explain what happens and where we can have what we call or what we deem the point of power within our cycle or within our mood. Let's take this block, for example. Let's take this as your hormone that causes depression, cortisol. What happens when cortisol starts the domino effect? So, with the domino effect, what we expect is that all these blocks will fall. But when you realize that there's a point of power within the cycle, that's when you realize what you can do. So, for example, let's take this. And this is what I love to call the depression hormone, or cortisol. Cortisol is what makes you feel hopeless, worthless. What makes you feel sad, and what makes you feel at times you don't want to sleep, or you can't even sleep, or you sleep a bit too much than normal, or maybe it causes you to eat too much or eat too little. That's what we call, or those are some of the signs and symptoms of depression. Sometimes it can even go as far as making you want to kill yourself, giving you those thoughts that you're not even relevant anymore to be living in this world. So let's take this one, for example, and see the domino effect of this hormone on your actions or on your emotions, and ultimately on your actions. When you're feeling sad, what then happens? How then do you react? Or how then do you choose to act afterwards? So let's take this one, for example. And we need to realize that within this cycle, let's remember that there's a point of power where you can reclaim yourself and use this to your own advantage. So let's see what happens when we decide to put this into the domino effect. As these fall down, you need to realize your point of power. When you realize that your point of power is where you can come up and say, I'm stressed, but let me go out. Let me go and have a cup of tea with my friends. Let me go out and have that jog. Let me go and exercise. You need to realize that you have a point of power. How do you realize, or what are some of the signs and symptoms of depression? Some of the signs and symptoms of depression can be a depressed mood generally. Let's start from there. The first thing that you need to do is to realize that you are depressed. How do you gain insight that you're depressed? You need to know what you're supposed or expected to feel for you to know that you're depressed. The first sign of depression is a depressed mood. That's very simple. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling hopeless? Are you feeling empty? Sometimes you have those crippling thoughts of worthlessness coming through. You have that hopelessness that you seem to have no hope of anything coming into fruition. We sometimes have at times where you're saying that you're not feeling sad, you're okay, but we can actually tell or see what is it that people are saying about you. At times, the people around you or people who are closest to you are in a position or situation where they can realize that you're looking sad, but you're saying you're fine. Your feelings, your affect, or how your countenance is looking sad or depressed. And at times, there are things that you used to find fascinating, but you've generally lost the interest to do those things. That sometimes market weight changes that you can actually have Not necessarily weight changes when you're dieting or when you're going to the gym. These are weight changes that you just see. Maybe you gain weight or you lose a lot of weight within a specified period of time, and you're not dieting, or you're not actually actively trying to lose or gain that particular weight. You have your sleep changes. At times you notice that your sleep cycle changes in such a way that you sleep too much or you sleep too little, or you're actually generally fatigued. These are some of the general signs and symptoms of depression. And one of the major signs and symptoms is when you start having those ideas that you don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to be on this earth. You need to kill yourself. Those are some of the major signs of depression that you can have. But one thing that I love is there is usually a solution to each and everything that happens. The first thing that you need to do is you need to be able to find help. How do you find help? You need to find help from others, and you need to find help from within. You need to find help from within yourself. How then do you usually find help within yourself? At times you can act out your problems. Sometimes talking about them can be really difficult. So you need to be able to say, okay, fine, let me just come, take a step back and see what is it that is really happening in my life. The next thing that you can also do is you can focus on the here and now rather than the past or the future. This helps you to be more grounded within yourself, to be more aware of your surroundings and your environment. It also helps you to create that sense of self-awareness within your society, within your family, within your work or your church. At times when you're depressed, we overlook or it overshadows what we feel about ourselves or what is actually true about ourselves. At times you feel that you're not important, the church does not care, your family does not care, or no one is actually there to be able to help you within or throughout your problems. And I usually love to say, God gave you 5 senses that actually can help you to ground yourself within, to actually help you to gain a sense or a point of power within your thoughts or your actions that you then do. You have your cognitive effect, right? What do you tell yourself? What are the affirmations that you're giving yourself? Am I telling myself that I am worth it? Am I telling myself that I'm not hopeless? Am I telling myself that I'm beautiful enough? Am I telling myself that I am enough? I can do each and everything that I think that is possible. So in realizing that this is actually possible, right? You then gain back your power. You then gain back the power that the cortisol or the hormones or the depression has been causing on you. And once you have done this, and I love the fact that you need to remember that behaviors or moods, you can learn and unlearn certain attitudes. You can learn and unlearn certain behaviors that you might have. I love how Mrs. White I'm forgetting the name of the book, but I remember that it was on the 21st of March. It's Conflict and something. I'm forgetting the name. But I love how she then gave a representation of learning and unlearning behaviors. Learning and unlearning behaviors that can actually cause more harm than good within yourself. She gives an example of Moses when he was in the mountains of Midian for the 40 years that he was there, where he was taking care of the sheep for his father-in-law. What you learn from this is Moses had to be removed from the splendor of Pharaoh, of being Pharaoh's grandson. He had to be removed from the splendor or the architecture that was there. And that's why I wanted to bring out the point that you need to be grounded. You need to be able to put yourself in a situation or in a position where you can say, or allow God to act. Allow God to be himself in your life. Allow yourself to see the divinity of Christ. And at times we have put so many things around us and we have idolized them in such a way that when we lose them, we feel depressed. When we lose them, we have anxiety. When we lose them, we have the stresses that we have in our lives. But if you manage to say, okay, fine, this is just but something that is within a space and time, but it does not affect the divinity of Christ. It does not affect the divinity of who God is and what God can do within your life. You can also then realize that the depression that you have, this is also a point of power. Why am I putting this into perspective? You need to realize that the Bible is also a very important and valid point of power that you can actually have in your movement, or as you're trying to remove yourself from that depressive state of mind. So one thing that I want you to remember is you hold the power within yourself to change your thoughts, to change your actions. Your thoughts or your actions, how you react to situations, this is all within your power. You have you have the power to change who you are. You have the power to change how you feel about yourself. You have the power to change how you see yourself. So I want you to remember that you're good enough, you're loved, and God loves you so much. Thank you so much for joining the Compassionate Couch. I'm Adiola Ngwayer.